You're alone in a room, no sound, no movement. You haven't heard anything and nothing visible has changed. And then, for no reason you can point to, the back of your neck prickles and something shifts in your chest and your attention snaps to the space behind you and you just know someone is watching you. You turn around, no one is there. And the strange part, the part that should bother you more than it does, is that the feeling was real. Something in you registered a threat before any of your conscious senses gave you a reason to. Your heart rate was already changing before you turned. Your muscles had already begun to orient toward the source. The alertness arrived first. The explanation came second, or not at all. You didn't decide to feel watched. Something older than your decision-making decided for you, and only told you about it afterward. Now, on paper, this makes no sense. We have eyes in the front of our heads. We can only see what's in front of us. There is no sensory organ pointed at our back, no nerve ending that can detect a gaze from across a room. And yet, the experience is universal. Every culture that has ever been studied reports it. Every language has a phrase for it. Which means either every human on Earth shares the same vivid hallucination, or the feeling is detecting something real. The answer is that you do have a sensor. It's just not where you think it is. Deep inside the human brain, and the brains of most social vertebrates, there is a dedicated neural system for detecting and processing gaze. Not vision in general, not faces. Gaze specifically, where eyes are pointed. Whether they are pointed at you, researchers call it the gaze detection system, and it operates below conscious awareness, faster than any deliberate perception. The superior temporal sulcus, a region along the side of the brain, responds specifically and rapidly to direct eye contact. Studies using brain imaging have shown it activates measurably faster when someone's gaze is directed at you than when it's directed slightly to your left or right. The difference in gaze angle is sometimes less than a degree, and your brain catches it every time before you have consciously registered that you are being looked at. And here is why it exists. To understand the gaze detection system, you have to go back to what it was built for. For most of human evolutionary history, and for hundreds of millions of years before humans existed, being looked at by the wrong thing was not a social inconvenience. It was not awkward. It was the last moment before something tried to kill you. Predators fix their gaze just before they move. A held, direct stare from the tray line means one thing and one thing only. The attack phase has begun, and the animal that noticed half a second earlier had half a second to run. The animals that survived long enough to become us were the ones whose brains caught that gaze early, fast enough to act before the predator closed the distance. The ones who didn't notice, or noticed too late, didn't survive to pass on their genes. Over millions of years, the gaze detection system didn't just develop, it sharpened. It got faster, more precise, more trigger sensitive, and it got wired directly into the body's alarm systems so that detecting a gaze immediately produces a physical response before the conscious mind has processed what happened. And we are not the only ones. Most social vertebrates have some version of this system. Pigeons will flee from a photograph of a human face with open eyes at significantly higher rates than from the same face with eyes closed. Cows alter their behavior when they detect that a human is looking at them versus looking away, even when the human is standing at the same distance either way. Rhesus monkeys have been shown to respond more strongly to direct gaze from a stranger than to any other social signal, including bared teeth. The eyes themselves carry threat information that bypasses everything else. But here's the part that makes this strange in a modern context. The system doesn't only fire when a threat is real, it fires when the pattern matches. And the pattern is simply eyes pointed at you. Your brain does not check whether the eyes belong to a predator, or to a friend, or to a stranger on the other side of a coffee shop. It checks one thing: are those eyes on me? And if yes, the alarm runs. This is why you feel watched in a crowded room before you can locate who is looking. The system detected the gaze before your eyes had time to scan and find the source. It's why making extended eye contact with a stranger produces an almost physical discomfort. Your brain is running a threat assessment on a social situation, and the alarm is going off, even though you know, consciously, there is no danger. The conscious mind says, "This is fine." The ancient system says, "Those eyes are on me, and I need to know why." And sometimes the system misfires entirely. A painting whose eyes seem to follow you across the room. A security camera, dark and still, that produces mild unease even when you know it's pointing at a wall. A mannequin in a window, a doll, eyes that are not eyes, but are eye-shaped enough that the ancient detector treats them as the real thing and sends the signal anyway. Your rational brain knows, the gaze detector doesn't care. There is a study by researcher Jelena Ristic and colleagues that demonstrated something remarkable about just how deep this goes. They showed participants a simple cartoon face on a screen, not a photograph, not a realistic image, just a circle with 2 dots for eyes. When those dot eyes shifted to look left, participants' attention followed left automatically before they had consciously chosen to look. 2 dots, and the gaze-following system activated. The trigger is that simple, that old. Think about what you do in a car. You're sitting in traffic, windows up, music playing, another car pulls alongside you, and you glance sideways and catch the driver in that car already looking at you. You felt them before you looked. Something in you registered the gaze through glass, across 2 sets of windows, before your eyes had fully moved. That's the system, still doing the job it was built to do, in a context its builders could not have imagined. Here's something worth trying. The next time you're in a public space, a cafe, a waiting room, a train, pick someone not looking your way and hold your attention on them. Don't stare aggressively, just focus. Most of the time, within 30 seconds, they'll glance up. They won't know why. They'll look around briefly, maybe look back at their phone. They didn't hear you. They didn't see you move. Something else told them. The feeling that someone is watching you is not a sixth sense. It's not psychic. It's not mystical. It is a dedicated biological detector, older than our species, shared with hundreds of other animals, wired directly into the body's alarm systems, still running full speed in a world where the predators that built it are mostly gone. You feel watched because your ancestors who felt it early lived, and the ones who didn't. The next time your neck prickles in an empty room, don't dismiss it. That feeling has been earning its keep for longer than language has existed. It ran in your ancestors' nervous systems every time they walked into a forest or sat near a fire after dark. It kept someone alive long enough to become your grandparent, and their grandparent, and on back through time to something that wasn't quite human yet. That system is you now. It just can't tell the difference between a predator and a painting anymore. And honestly, given what it went through to get here, that's a pretty reasonable trade. If this changed how you see yourself or the painting across the room, subscribe. We keep pulling apart the hidden systems behind the wild. The wild mind is everywhere around us. Keep looking. I'll see you next time.